Hindi na ako tumodas-todas.
Eh, kasi naman, tayo ka ng tayo eh.
Totoo yan. Maswerte talaga ang nakaupo.
Uwi na tayo. Muna. At saan tayo pupunta? Dito ka na mamamatay ng daddy mo.
Nagtatapang-tapangan ka! Anak ni po ako, Dad! I am your son!
Alsa tayo dito. Natatakot na ako eh.
Saan ka natatakot? Sabihin mo nga sa akin. Masama ba akong tao?
Di ba tayo nasanay? 7 assassination attempts. Isang dosen ng kudeta. Anong pinagkaiba nito?
Kanina pa lang 6:30 ng umaga, may sinasabi na yung babae sa radyo na wala na raw yung mga Marcos. Ano yun, sino itong mga kasama natin dito? Aparisyon?
Bongbong! Dad! Bakit ganyan pa rin ang damit mo? Anong gusto mong palabasin?
Dad, pinagsabugan na po nila tayo.
My order is to disperse the crowd all the time, Mr. President, without shooting them. No.
So, ang gusto mo, pasabugan din natin sila.
Huwag ka to ng mga ahas! Nilingkis na nila tayo! Maghihintay na lang sila ng kung kailan yung tamang oras para lagutin yung hininga natin!
Anong alam mo sa pagkapanalo? Anong alam mo sa katapatan? Ngayong palagi kang nagpa-party, palagi kang wala, palagi kang nasa club!
Walang mamamatay dito. Hindi ko kayo iiwan ni Daddy. Bibit-bitin ko kayo sa ayaw niyo at sa gusto. Bakit ba kasi tayo aalis? Kung hindi tayo lalaban, kailangan namin tinitis tayo.
Ipanipunta kami na itong Malacañang. Hindi na maintindihan kung sinong pwedeng pagkatiwalaan dito sa palasyo.
We are finally free, and we can be truly proud of the unprecedented way we achieved our freedom in peace.
Get them out of the Philippines.
Tayo magkakapalit.
Makakabalik tayo. Makakabalik tayo.
Yes, that is quite clear. In spite of any result of any constitutional convention, I have no intention of running for a third term. Don't you think that 2 terms is enough for any man?
I have proclaimed martial law in accordance with the powers vested in the President by the Constitution of the Philippines.
I feel the earth move on the moon. I feel the sky to moon.
August 21, 1971. Lugar, Plaza Miranda, sa harap ng simbahan ng Quiapo sa downtown ng Maynila. Sa makasaysayang Plaza Miranda, karaniwan nagtitipon ng mga aktivista at politiko. Panahon iyon ng kampanya para sa eleksyon ng mga senador. 2 partido politikal ang naglalaban. Ang mga nasyonalista ang nasa poder. Ang partido ng administrasyon, ang partido ni Marcos. Ang mga liberal ang nasa oposisyon. Sarili ng Partido Liberal sa Plaza Miranda. Dalawang granada ang inihagis sa entablado. Sa pagsabong ng granada, halos 100 karaniwang mamamayan ng nasugatan. Sugatan din ng mga lider ng Partido Liberal. Isa na rito si Senador Jovito Salonga.
Mahigit sa 100 piraso ng shrapnel hanggang ngayon ay nasa loob ng aking katawan. Makikita ninyo itong epekto sa mga kamay ko. Ito'y nalaglag na eh. At dito tumama ang isang malaking shrapnel na 1 millimeter short of my aorta. Ang sabi ng mga doktor, kung yun just so much as touch your aorta, patay ka na. So I missed death by only 1 millimeter.
Isang misteryo hanggang ngayon ang insidente sa Plaza Miranda. Malakas ang suspecha noon na si Senador Benigno Aquino ang kasabwat ng mga komunista sa pambobomba sa Plaza Miranda. Sa tingin ng marami, layunin niyang maghasik ng lagim at lumikha ng kaguluhan.
I, Ferdinand P. Marcos, President of the Philippines, by virtue of the powers vested upon me by Article 7, Section 10, Paragraph 2 of the Constitution, do hereby suspend the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus.
Kasunod ng pambobomba sa Plaza Miranda, sinuspinde ni Marcos ang writ of habeas corpus. Ibig sabihin, kahit sino ay pwede nang ipadakip ng mga may kapangyarihan at hindi na kailangang iharap sa korte. Dahil sa lakas ng protesta laban sa writ suspension, napilitan si Marcos na ibalik ang writ of habeas corpus. Noong sumunod na taon, nagkasunod-sunod ang pambobomba. Nasugatan ng ilang mga mamili sa Joe's Department Store, pero walang nasaktan sa iba pang pambobomba. Parang ang layunin lamang ay manakot sa halip na pumatay.
August 26, 1971, members of the New People's Army raided a tactical command post in Isabela, destroying 2 AFP helicopters.
Bukod kay Senador Aquino, ang pangunahing pinagbibintangan ni Marcos sa nangyari sa Plaza Miranda ay ang Communist Party of the Philippines o CPP na pinamumunuan ni Jose Maria Sison. Isinilang ang CPP noong 1968 sa araw pagkatapos ng Pasko. Pagkaraan ng 3 buwan, itinatag nito ang isang armadong grupo, ang New People's Army o NPA. Kabilang sa mga nagbuo ng NPA ang ilang dating HUK, mga miyembro ng hukbong mapagpalaya ng Pilipinas, isang grupo ng mga armadong rebelde na nakabase sa Central Luzon. Isa sa mga rebeldeng ito si Bernabe Buscaino, lalong kilala sa bansag na Commander Dante. Sa kalaunan, pati ang kalikasan ay tila nagbigay kay Marcos ng dahilan para ideklara ang emergency rule. Noong Hulyo at Agosto 1972, isang napakalakas na bagyo ang lumikha ng baha sa Central Luzon at sumira sa mga palayan doon. Napilitan ng gobyerno na umangkat ng halos 250,000 tonelada ng bigas mula sa ibang bansa. Tumaas ng todo-todo ang presyo ng bilihin. Muli, naglabasan sa kalsada ang mga estudyante para iprotesta ang pagtaas ng mga presyo.
Narito ang ating konstitusyon, ang sabigan ng ating mga pag-asa.
Samantala, namumuo ang iba pang klaseng kaguluhan sa Constitutional Convention o CONCON. Inihalal ang CONCON para palitan ng 1935 Constitution na ginawa pa noong panahong ang Pilipinas ay isang kolonya ng Estados Unidos.
This was the great desire of our forebears, their one vision, their one dream, the dream of freedom. And today, at last,
Sa kalaunan, naaprubahan ng transitory provisions. Nahikayat pumirma ang mga delegado dahil makikinabang din sila sa bisa ng mga probisyong iyon.
Arriving by helicopter at Camp Aquino, Tarlac, Secretary of National Defense Juan Ponce Enrile was met by the top brass of Task Force Lawin and the Army.
September 22, 1972. Lumabas sa radyo at telebisyon ng balitang inambos ang kotse ni kalihim Juan Ponce Enrile. Ang insidenteng ito ay isa sa mga binanggit na dahilan sa pagdideklara ng martial law. Noong gabing yun, nang pauwi na si Enrile, tinagtad ng bala ang kanyang sasakyan habang dumaraan sa Wakwak Subdivision, Mandaluyong. Sinabi ni Enrile na nakaligtas siya dahil ang sinakyan niya ng gabing iyon ay ang kotse ng kanyang mga bodyguard.
I have proclaimed martial law in accordance with the powers vested in the President by the Constitution of the Philippines. I assure you that I am utilizing this power for the proclamation of martial law vested in me by the Constitution for one purpose alone, and that is to save the Republic and reform our society.
23 ng Setyembre 1972 nang nalaman ng bayan na nagsimula na ang panahon ng martial law. Pero 21 ang opisyal na petsang nakasulat sa Proclamation 1081.
Now, the limit has been reached, for we are against the wall. We must now defend the Republic of the Philippines with this stronger power granted by the Constitution. To those guilty of treason, insurrection, rebellion, it may pose a grave danger. But to the ordinary citizenry, to almost all of you, whose primary concern is merely to be left alone, to pursue your lawful activities, this is the guarantee of that freedom that you seek. All that I do and we in government must do is for the Republic and for you. Of truth.
Programs of Marcos were more faithful to the rules of our Constitution.
Napakatahimik, napakalinis ng sarili, everything was behaved. Sinabi ni Marcos, sa ikawilan ng bayan, disiplina ang kailangan. Pinagtatawanan ko yan ng Marcel. Pero may sinasabi ko, tama.
Old but lucky bed when the president was born in the morning of Monday at 7 o'clock, September 11, 1917. We have our bed here. My husband was there, they know for the crib would be there by his side. Ang presidenteng nagdeklara ng martial law ay kinilalang isa sa pinakamatalinong Pilipino ng kanyang henerasyon. Habang estudyante sa law school at 21 anyos lamang, nasangkot siya sa isang kontrobersyal na insidente. Ang kanyang ama, si Mariano Marcos, ay natalo sa pagkakongresista ng Ilocos Norte. Ang nanalo ay si Julio Nalundasan. Isang gabi pagkatapos ng eleksyon, habang nagsisipilyo sa bintana ng kanyang bahay, si Nalundasan ay binaril at napatay. Ang pangunahing pinaghinalaan, ang sharpshooter na si Ferdinand Edralin Marcos. Sa husgado, napatunayan siyang nagkasala at hinatulan siya ng 17 taon sa bilangguan. Nag-review siya para sa bar habang nakakulong at naging top-notcher sa kabila ng lahat. Sa Korte Suprema, siya mismo ang dumipensa sa kanyang sarili. Ang hukom ng Korte Suprema na duminig sa kaso ni Marcos ay si Jose Laurel Sr. na naging presidente ng puppet na republikang itinatag ng mga Hapones noong ikalawang digmaang pandaigdig. Pinawalang sala niya si Marcos. Para kay Marcos, isang malaking tagumpay ang kasong Nalundasan. Sa panahon ng giyera, sa ikalawang digmaang pandaigdig, bumuo siya at pinamunuan niya ang isang grupong gerilya na nakilala sa pangalang ang Maharlika. Humigit kumulang sa 30 medalya ang kanyang kabayanihan. Kabilang Congressional Medal of Honor, ang pinakamataas na karangalang iginagawad ng gobyernong Amerikano sa sundalo.
He was a defender of Bataan. He was an officer in one of the intelligence units of the Filipino group in Bataan.
4 na taon pagkaraan ng giyera, nahalal siya bilang kongresista ng Ilocos Norte. Ang pwestong napanalunan ni Julio Nalundasan may isang dekada na ang nakaraan. 3 term nanungkulan si Marcos bilang kongresista ng Ilocos Norte. Pagkatapos, nahalal siyang senador at lumabas na top-notcher. Di nagtagal, naging Pangulo siya ng Senado, isang pwestong ginagawang tuntungan ng mga nangangarap na maging presidente ng Pilipinas. Office Complex, ito'y sa dahilang nagpatayo siya ng kung ano-anong edifisyo at gusali. Folk Arts Theater, Philippine International Convention Center, Heart Center, Lung Center, Kidney Center, Film Center, Cultural Center.
Yung Cultural Center, yun ang parang our monument to the Filipino soul and spirit. Doon natin ilalagay lahat ang kagandahan na that we have upheld, the beautiful and the good and the right that we have upheld and the true that we have upheld as a people through the centuries.
Nang ikasal ang anak niyang si Irene, ilang buwan pagkatapos ng kasal, nawasak ang simbahan sa isang lindol. Isang paboritong proyekto ni Imelda ay ang Film Center. Ninadali ito para magamit sa Manila International Film Festival o MIFF. Gumuho ang 2 palapag habang ginagawa ang Film Center. 200 katao ang tinatayang namatay sa insidente. Natabunan ng simentong madaling matuyo.
Masyadong ulan, basa pa yung semento sa tuktok, nag-collapse yung ceiling at meron na baon na ilang tao doon. Pero hindi totoo na meron kaming iniwan na patay doon. Yan naman Diyos ang may alam. Miski natin hukayin piece by piece, stone by stone dyan, ni isang buto. Yung matatanda, naglilimos, wala man lang pumapansin. Anong araw lahat yan, yung matanda man, bata, hindi mo makikita. Doon kasi kukup-kupin ko lahat at lalagyan ko ng home for the aged, home for the orphans, meron akong lahat nun from room to tomb.
Sa kanyang ikalawang presidential decree sa ilalim ng batas militar, ipinahayag ni Marcos na ang buong Pilipinas ay isa ng land reform area. Ipamamahagi ang lupa sa mga magsasaka.
I, Ferdinand E. Marcos, President of the Republic of the Philippines, do hereby decree and order henceforth, from this day on, October 21st, 1972, the emancipation of tenant farmers of the Philippines.
Sa simula, mukhang gumanda ang takbo ng ekonomiya. Ipinasok ni Marcos sa gobyerno ang mga technocrats na tulad nina Paterno, Gerardo Sicat at Cesar Virata. Ang mga ito ay mga profesional na manager na kilalang hindi namumulitika o balitang hindi nangungurakot. Lumago ang tubo ng mga pangunahing korporasyon. Tumaas ang gross national product at nagkaroon ang Pilipinas sa kauna-unahang beses ng balance of payment surplus dahil sa di inaasahang pagtaas ng presyo ng mga produktong pang-export. Pangunahin na ang asukal at niyog.
I would say 1972 to 1976. I think that these were the best years of the Marcos administration.
Pero hindi nagtagal ang oras ng ligaya ng mga negosyante. Nang pumutok ang gera sa Middle East, tumaas ang presyo ng langis at bumagsak ang export earnings ng Pilipinas.
I'm overheated, can hardly sleep at night, doing crazy dreaming. You're the reason why. Hiding by the baby, losing my mind. Don't try to save me. I feel alive. My world is faster and faster. The tears and the laughter. I'm here for the ride. Yes, yes.
Lumakas ang puwersa ng Communist Party of the Philippines at New People's Army, lalo na sa kanayunan. Sa unang taon ng martial law, itinatag ang National Democratic Front, isang makakaliwang alyansa na nagtataguyod ng sandatahang pakikibaka. Sa kalakasan ng CPP, NPA, NDF, tinatayang umabot sa mahigit 20,000 ang armadong kasapian nito. Sa hanay ng Muslim Secessionist Movement, itinatag ang Moro National Liberation Front at sa kalaunan ang Moro Islamic Liberation Front. Ang mga grupong ito ay sinuportahan at inurmasan ng mga mayayamang bansang Muslim sa Middle East. Naging madugong larangan ang Mindanao.
Ikaw ay ikilos mo ang iyong mga kamay, takpang mo ang iyong mga paa. Olos minda gumising ka na, huwag mong siraan ang iyong mundo. Gising na, gising na.
Kumilos din ang mga makabayang politiko. Noong 1978, dahil sa tulak ng administrasyon ni Presidente Jimmy Carter ng Estados Unidos, napilitan si Marcos na idaos ang matagal nang nabibimbing eleksyon para sa interim batasang pambansa.
Ako si Chris Aquino. Ako'y 7 taong gulang na. Ngunit halos 6 na taong ko nang hindi nakakapiling ang tatay ko si Ninoy Aquino. Sana'y tulungan po ninyo ako para makapiling ko naman ng mami ko, ng mga kapatid ko, at lalong-lalo na para makapaglingkod na rin sa inyo.
Mula sa bilangguan, inilunsad ni Ninoy Aquino ang kanyang kandidatura. Hiningan siyang kumandidato pero hindi siya pinayagang kumampanya. Binigyan lang siya ng isang pagkakataong magsalita sa telebisyon.
We stand up, hindi ka pa nakakatayo denied ng motion mo siyempre mga general yan pag nagalit si Apo sa kanila, diretirado na sila.
But sir, wouldn't you think that by making a statement such as that, you're really questioning the integrity of all these men?
No, it is the circumstance, Ronnie. Kamukha mo, empleyado ka ng NNPC, maataking ba si Marcos? Hindi pwede.
No.
Na nga
I will not attack the president. I have no quarrel with him.
Na nga because you are also in the NNPC.
Ang partido ng rehimen ng kilusang bagong lipunan ay nagharap ng tiket na pinangungunahan ni Imelda Marcos. Sa pamumuno ni Ninoy Aquino, ang oposisyon ay nagbuo ng isang alyansa, ang Lakas ng Bayan o Laban. Ang radikalisasyon ng mga tradisyonal na politiko at ng mga aktivistang moderato.
Behind the series of terrorist bombings in the
bombing incidents in Metro Manila.
1981, may bagong presidente ng Estados Unidos, si Ronald Reagan. Nakatakdang dumalaw sa Pilipinas ang Papa, si John Paul II. Dahil sa mga pangyayaring ito, napilitan si Marcos na magluwag. Formal niyang inalis ang martial law at nagdaos siya ng isang eleksyon sa pagkapresidente. Binikot ng oposisyon ang halalan, nanalo si Marcos. Sa panahon ito, naninirahan na sa Estados Unidos si Ninoy Aquino at ang kanyang pamilya. 1979. Kailangang operahan si Ninoy para sa sakit sa puso.
I told them, where can I have my operation? Dito lang po, sa heart center. And that's the heart center of Imelda Marcos. And I asked, who can do the operation for me? The director said, ako lang po. He was the director of the heart center, handpicked also by Imelda. I said, Doctor, pagpaliban mo na ka ako. Thank you na lang. I said, if they cannot operate on me in America, please bring me to my cell. May 8. My wife visited me early in the morning and she told me, the hospital is crawling with Metrocom cars. Guards all over the place. Baka kami magbibisita sa'yo. Then all of a sudden, my guards started jumping, putting their barong Tagalog, hiding all of their guns. I said, tama, may darating na VIP. And then lo and behold, the beautiful one ascended into my suite. She came, and she was really beautiful. She has not aged, and she sat down and said, naku, Ninoy, sabi niya, I'm sorry to see you like that. Would you like to go to America? Abay ka ko, sure. Oo. Eh sa tuwa ko, tinanggal ko pa ng aking kwintas, anting-anting ko ito, iwanan ko na prepare dito. Palayasin na niyo ako, pumunta niyo ako sa Amerika. Sabi niya, there's a plane leaving at 6 o'clock. You can be in that plane.
Para mapigilan ang kanyang pag-uwi, kinansela ang kanyang pasaporte at winarningan siya na may mga magtatangkang pumatay sa kanya kung sakaling umuwi siya.
Nung nagkita kami ni Ninoy, sabi ko, Ninoy, ang sabi ng Presidente, okay na okay daw. In fact, matagal ka nang hinihintay niya eh. Ilang taon na yun, nagtataka siya, ba't hindi ka pa umuwi? Sabi ng Presidente Marcos, okay na okay, pwede kang umuwi.
Will you allow observers in to oversee the elections to make certain that they're fair?
You're all invited. I have spent 2 years building up an effective political machine, and you're trying to tell me I shouldn't run because Cory might. What kind of nonsense is that? Go. I admire Cory. I can say that to her face. I admire her enormously. But she has absolutely no political experience. And she hasn't even decided she wants to run. Sorry. What we are all trying to tell you is that no matter what happens, there must be only one candidate against Marcos. If we split the position, we're lost. As far as I can see, there is only one candidate. We're all happy about that. Contact me and we'll start to talk strategies. We have collected the million signatures for you. You have to decide. Therefore, considering the evidence of a fact as found in the record, the court finds you innocent of the crime charged. Accordingly, they incur neither criminal nor civil liability. The release of the accused who are under the custody of the commanding officer is hereby ordered. Well, thank God it's all over. Well, there's nothing glad to be acquitted? Never. Because there never was any cause. General Fabian C. Ver was all smiles today when he handed a copy of his acquittal to President Marcos at Malacañang Palace. The President immediately reinstated General Ver to his former status as
Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces. Earlier in the day, Ver and his co-defendants were cleared of all charges.
This is the colonel who has the acquittal of Colonel Ver in first position in running.
Yes, I've decided to run.
Is that official?
Yes, I've made up my mind.
Who's the running mate? What about going around?
If they want to stop me, they're going to have to kill me. I just want to remind Mr. Marcos that it was he who called for snap elections, and once the people decided to participate, he better watch out if he threatens to frustrate their will again. I'm afraid he will have an angry people on his hands.
Mrs. Aquino, you keep making what sometimes sound like veiled threats and sometimes not so veiled. What do you mean he'd better watch out?
Well, all along I have asked the people, not to engage in any violence, and so far they have listened to me. And if you may recall, just after my husband was assassinated, I did go on radio in our country, and I asked the people, to observe peaceful means and not to resort to violence, and they did obey me. But this time, they have a greater stake in this. It's not just Cory Aquino, but the future of our children and our children's children. So if they think that they have been cheated out of an election, I'm afraid they might not listen to me anymore if I still insist on going about this peacefully.
Well, let me put it to you this way. You are running for president of the Philippines. You are putting yourself forward as the leader of your nation. And now, if I understand what you're telling me correctly, you're saying if the election doesn't go the right way, you may not be able to control even your own followers. That doesn't speak very well for your ability to be able to run the country.
Well, Ted, the people who are with me now are so convinced that I will win. And if Marcos resorts to terrorism or to gross cheating, then the people who have supported me may finally think that the electoral process is just not advisable anymore.
Are you raising the specter, the possibility of something approaching even civil war?
No, not civil war, as long as I can manage it. In fact, I have said that if Mr. Marcos cheats me out of this election, then I will call for daily demonstrations. However, if these daily demonstrations will still not get us the desired results, then I am afraid that the people might not listen to me anymore.
Mr. President, I don't remember any election in recent Filipino history, in fact, even in not-so-recent Filipino history, where the loser did not claim that there were technical and other reasons of foul. So, and perhaps you remember one, but I don't.
I think you're right. Filipinos are not known to be good losers. They're always our grapes, losers, and they never concede. But in this particular matter, Ted, I am so certain of victory that these declarations of my opponent that there will be a civil war in this country indicate how desperate they are. I certainly am concerned about your attitude that you feel that there would be cheating if I win, and there would be no cheating if she wins. No, I think it's the other way around.
I realize it is a hypothetical question, but in every election, someone has to win, someone has to lose, and I wonder if you would address the hypothetical question, though. If you lose, will you stand down?
I have never thought of it, but certainly if there is no question which nullifies the results of the election. As I said, I will perform my duty as president in accordance with law.
Your claims and the claims of your supporters that you are so highly decorated are fabricated claims.
I don't
That in point of
think that is the story. It's a story about my guerrilla group. It's not about the medals. Even here, when the case of libel was filed, the publisher here did not question those medals. It's only you, Americans, who question it. I am not going to degrade myself by talking about those medals. If the American government wants them back, they can have them back. It's a good thing that we did not burn them. It's a good thing that we did not burn them at the end of the war, when you refused to give us our back salaries and refused to recognize all of us, and we were not entitled to education benefits, we were not entitled to medical benefits. But I was one of those who stopped our people from turning communist, especially the veterans, because we did not fight for communism, we fought for freedom. Now I wonder whether we also fought for the Americans and the American flag, to which we had sworn when MacArthur inducted us into the USAFE. I have no regrets, however, about having fought in Bataan. I have no regrets about fighting beside American soldiers. I have no regrets about fighting under American officers. And probably if our country were ever to be attacked again, I would do the same thing. But I would certainly raise some questions about the conduct of the American government in relation to the veterans of the last war. I am certainly very disappointed.
Mr. President, the question is not raised about the courage of Filipinos who fought against the Japanese during the Second World War. But the question, as you know, and you know this is not something I'm making up, you have seen those newspaper articles yourself and you have seen some of the documents, suggests that the guerrilla group that you claim to have led, in fact, either did not exist at all or was just a tiny group that played no major role.
Then why is it recognized by the intelligence officer of General MacArthur in a paper which is certified too by the head of the archives of the United States? Now look, I don't want to talk about this anymore. If you do, I'm going to walk out.
You've had some rather disparaging remarks to make about Mrs. Aquino, not the least of them being that, in effect, she has experience as a housewife, but little else. Do you think she has gained in stature over the last few weeks? And do you think it is possible that if she is elected, that she could serve effectively as President of the Philippines?
I still believe that you need somebody who has been experienced to run our government in this time of crisis. I have nothing against her, but certainly when, say, your son is sick and he needs an operation or he needs the expertise of a good doctor, you don't pick just anybody who has honesty and sincerity in order to cure your son. In that situation where she has no experience whatsoever is something that we have to accept and admit realistically that she had the nerve to run without any experience whatsoever, as she admitted, and it's not me who has said that she is inexperienced, it is her who said, what do I know about running a government? And as an ordinary citizen, I would cry out immediately against anybody who says that being given the presidency. But as President of the Republic, I think it's my duty to call attention to this danger.
I know that you made a great deal, and it is an excellent rhetorical device, of saying, yes, you are inexperienced. You are inexperienced in corruption. You are inexperienced in crime. You are inexperienced in dictatorship. But let's be candid about it. You are also inexperienced in leadership. Now, there is a difference even between running a campaign as the widow of a martyred and beloved leader and running a country that is, as you yourself have pointed out, in a great deal of trouble. To those who are neutral about you, what do you say about your lack of experience?
Well, more than experience, I think it is credibility that counts. And the truth of the matter is that the Marcos government has lost all credibility, and no way can Mr. Marcos possibly lead our country back to recovery because the Filipino people no longer believe in him. I realize that I am inexperienced, but as Mr. Marcos himself confessed, it took him 6 months to learn how to be president. And I guess I can do the same thing. As we all know, there is no school for presidents. So I don't think that should be a point against me. Your own George Washington definitely had no experience either.
It is possible that he had no experience as a president, but he certainly had some experience in leadership when he became president. And you are trying to become now the leader of a fractured country, the leader of a country that has enormous economic problems, the leader of a country that is rife with corruption, as you yourself have said, the leader of a country that has so many problems that one wonders how even the most experienced leader would be able to take care of them. I don't mean to harp on it, but it is the central issue of the campaign against you. And what I would like you to focus on for a moment is not you simply as an alternative to President Marcos, but you on your own merits.
I realize how many people may think that I am not, the perfect solution to everything, but let's just say I am the best available solution to our problem.
There are a great many people within your own coalition, within your own party right now, who see you as a useful device for getting rid of President Marcos, but who may have plans of their own for then shuttling you aside and, having used you, then taking over power themselves. How would you prevent that from happening?
Nobody can use me, and I showed this very clearly when I insisted that I would be the presidential candidate. I mean, if people wanted me to defeat Marcos, they would have to do it my way. And you can ask the politicians, the leading politicians in the opposition, how I was able to get all of them to agree that I would be the presidential candidate and not anybody else. Otherwise, we would have had 2 candidates instead of just 1.
Again, Mrs. Aquino, the point I'm making is that I can see why they would be willing to stand aside for the immediate goal of getting President Marcos out of the way. But now we're talking about real power. Now we're talking about the power of governing and leading the Republic of the Philippines. And my question is, are you confident that you can continue to rule even when some of these people are going to be trying to take power away from you?
Yes, I'm very confident of that because there were no deals involved when I ran for president. So nobody has a hold on me. I am my own person. I intend to continue being that kind of person. As I said, I don't owe anybody any favors.
Let's talk for a moment about the kind of relationship that a government of the Philippines under Corina Aquino would have with the United States. What kind of a relationship would you want to have with the United States?
Well, I would like to continue our friendly relations with the United States, and I see no reason why that cannot be so. In fact, I would like to strengthen those relations, and definitely we will be in direct dialogue with your government. So I really see no problems there.
Well, the problems again, and it seems to me that there has been a little bit of waffling on the issue of the bases over the course of the last couple of months. Would you tell me now in these final hours of the campaign precisely what your position on the bases at Subic Bay and Clark Air Force Base are? What is your position now?
All right. I respect the military bases agreement, which will expire until 1991. And in the meantime, I will keep all of my options open. I know that no sovereign state can ever allow any part of its territory to be in the perpetual possession of a foreign power. And I think no ally of ours will be demanding this of me.
I am not hearing from you the kind of reassurance that I think Washington really wants to hear. Now, obviously, you're under no compulsion to give it, but I wonder whether that is deliberate.
No, it's not deliberate. Before the RP-US basis agreement expires in 1991, we will be in consultation with the United States, with our neighboring countries, especially the members of ASEAN, and above all, we will be consulting with the Filipino people so that we will be able to reach an agreement which will be to the best interest of the world, but in particular, the Philippines.
I've always maintained that those bases are needed by the two governments and probably by Asia itself, if not the world. You cannot project your naval and air power beyond the South China Sea as well as to the Indian Ocean and the Hormuz Straits in the Middle East without those bases. And we also recognize that Asian countries may be in danger if the balance of military power were not maintained between the two superpowers. And therefore, the ultimate noble purpose of all of this is to maintain that military balance in order that we can avoid war in Asia. This is to the advantage of not only the United States and the Philippines, but to the advantage of all of Asia and perhaps of the Middle East, Europe, and perhaps the world.
When you hear people speculating in this country, and there has been some considerable speculation, that perhaps things are becoming a little bit too dicey in the Philippines and that the United States ought to think about putting its bases elsewhere. You take that seriously?
I take it seriously, and certainly we would not stop you if you want to get out of the Philippines.
Do you think that Subic and Clark can be replaced?
You will not be able to find any replacement of Subic and Clark, but you are free to get out anytime you think it wise to do so.
Mr. President, some would say that the gravest danger to the Philippines these days is that there is a crisis of confidence, and that what Mrs. Aquino would bring to the presidency would be a fresh breeze, and that she could get the expertise by surrounding herself with competent experts. But that what is needed is a fresh sense of trust, a sense that the corruption that is charged will be cleaned out, a sense that the cronyism that is charged will be cleaned out, a sense that the brutality that is charged against members of your armed forces and the police will be cleaned out, and that Mrs. Aquino can fulfill that role and you cannot.
You, sir, are guilty of speculation and making allegations that are not proved by evidence. Corruption and hidden wealth were charges included in the impeachment proceeding. They were debated upon, and the opposition was challenged to present their evidence. They could not. There is no evidence. Even in your hearings in the House of Representatives Subcommittee of Mr. Sola, Congressman Solomon and Roth, I think, have said that there is no evidence about corruption or hidden wealth, and that this is all hearsay and all rumor. Now you repeat it as if it is the gospel truth. I question your right to make this as a premise for any further questioning. I must say that hearsay, rumors, speculation as a basis for a question by reputable newspapers and foreign correspondents should have no place in a society like ours. Your society
Mr.
and
President,
ours.
you are quite right. If I were the only one raising those questions, there would be no point in
The
raising
number
them at all.
does not matter, Ted. Whether 1,000 people raise it, if there is no evidence, then it is false. Whether it is raised by 10,000 people, if there is no evidence, then it is patently false. numbers do not matter. It is evidence that matters. And you don't have any evidence. Mr. Solas has no evidence. The opposition has no evidence. They're just talking loud, and they're engaged in a smear campaign, and you are helping them.
Mr. Solars claims that he has testimony from someone who met with who claims that he has testimony from someone who met with your wife, Mrs. Marcos, who spoke to him of properties that you hold through other names in New York, and that Mrs. Marcos said to this man who testified before the committee that she expected by 1987 to have $70 million worth in profits on those properties. Now that is the testimony. You're saying there is no testimony. It may be inaccurate, but the testimony, sir, is there.
The witness, when asked by Congressman Solomon whether there is any evidence whatsoever proving this, said, I merely heard it. It is something that I heard from somebody. I do not know your sources of information. You may be more accurate than I am. But certainly, I don't consider that evidence which ties us up to the ownership of any of these properties. We are looking into the manner in which the evidence has been obtained by some of your investigators and some of your foreign correspondents, your newspaper men. And then after the elections, we will then look into the legal aspects of the coercion and intimidation that has been going on against some of the witnesses. But anyway, whatever it is, I deny categorically any speculations of the corruption and hidden wealth that is being alleged, so much so that the opposition members of the Batasan, the legislature, are now facing perjury cases in our courts, and we are going to see to it that these cases will be pushed through.
There have been charges by both sides, against both sides, of corruption in the voting process. How is it going to be possible for anyone ever to be satisfied that this was an honest election, even if it were?
Well, I guess as long as it is fairly honest, then we would be able to satisfy everybody. But if there are outright violations and we can see that there has been such enormous fraud, then that would be difficult to convince the Filipino people. But as I said earlier, since there are so many people personally involved in these elections, then we will see people power working to make sure that we get as clean and honest elections as possible.
How much fraud, how much corruption in the process are you prepared to accept?
Well, that all depends, Ted. Naturally, I cannot envision what Mr. Marcos is going to do. So I cannot say right now just what it is that I will be able to accept or what I will totally reject.
There is an enormous difficulty in ever reaching a decision on how much fraud there has been. Both sides are going to claim it. We know that already. Your side's going to claim it. His side is going to claim it. How is it ever going to be possible to reach an understanding on what happened and how much fraud there was?
Well, Ted, we all know who is the real power in this country, and it's a one-man power. So since he controls almost everything in this country, it is really unthinkable that we in the opposition, can manage cheating the way he is accusing us of. He controls COMELEC, and he has all of the government forces behind him. So how can he possibly accuse us of committing fraud?
Well, if he has all the power, as you say, and if you already believe that he is committed to win this election by whatever means he can, then how is it possible that you're going to win?
Well, as I've been saying all along, it's people power that has finally emerged in this past campaign. And there will be many of these people who will be poll watchers in the coming elections. So they will be guarding their respective polling precincts, and they will also be watching the tabulations. So I am counting on all of these people to help us get an accurate count.
What happened during the campaign with regard to media coverage? President Marcos has told me that you have certainly had access to the television and radio stations, and he denies categorically that you have been kept off.
Well, take for example the question of rallies and ours last night. I don't know if you were given a minute or two, but normally all of President Marcos's speeches are covered in full. So I'll be lucky if I can have a sentence or two. We both addressed the Chamber of Industries, and his speech was covered in full. I think I had two sentences, which I was allowed to, which local television aired. Maybe I can refer back to my husband's own funeral, where the Filipino people saw nothing of my husband's funeral, but which was viewed throughout the world. So things haven't changed much since that time. And I'm really lucky if I can get my face on television. What they are doing to me now is that they use some of my video shots and they impose it on their commercials, and then they have somebody pretending to be me and, talking as if it were Cory Aquino. And there's nothing I can do about it because all of media is, all of television is under the control of Mr. Marcos.
I will say that the common goals are critically linked to the struggle for democracy in our country.
Na sa tulong ng Panginoong Diyos, dahil sa isang lilang Marcos, ang kasalanan natin, mananalo pa rin dito at babalik natin ang ating mga kasalanan.
The opposition is planning a mock, kunyari lang, a stage, a false ambush. I cannot believe that people running for such high office can go to the extent of staging a false ambush and a false kidnapping.
I admit that I have no experience in cheating, stealing, lying, or assassinating political opponents.
Sa snap election ng kandidato ng naghaharing partido sa pagkapresidente at vice-presidente ay sina Marcos at Arturo Tolentino. Ang itinapat ng nagkakaisang oposisyon, Cory Aquino, dating may bahay, at Salvador Laurel, pinuno ng Alyansang Unido. Saan mang magpunta sina Cory, dinumog sila ng taong bayan. Isang palatandaan na lumalawak at lumalakas ang damdamin laban sa batas militar. Nang mag-walk out bilang protesta ang mga computer technicians, itinuloy sa batasang pagbansa ang bilangan ng boto. Sa kabila ng pagsalungat ng mga oposisyonistang mambabatas, ipinahayag ng mayorya sa batasan ang pagwawagi ng Marcos. Nakita ng Reform the Armed Forces Movement ang pagkakataon para kumilos laban kay Marcos. Pero natunugan ni Marcos ang planong pagsalakay sa Malacañang. Napilitan ang mga rebeldeng sundalo na manindigan sa loob ng mga kampo militar. Pero dumamay at sumaklolo sa mga rebelde ang isang di inaasahang kaalyado, ang taong bayan. People power.
At a palace news conference, his top general argued with him.
I understand you gave them orders to wait.
I told them to wait because
there are massing civilians near our troops, and we cannot keep on withdrawing. They asked us to withdraw yesterday. When I talked to Mr. Enrile, he said you talk to you, we withdraw a little.
My order is to disperse
We cannot
the crowd
withdraw all the time, Mr. President.
without shooting them. No, hold on. You disperse the crowd without shooting them. I appeal to the civilians to stay calm.
We are merely defending the people in the same way that the people are protecting us.
This is a small matter which we have control of.
Corazon Cojuangco Aquino,
Corazon Cojuangco Aquino,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
sa isang proklamasyon sa Club Filipino, nanumpa si Cory Aquino bilang presidente.
Taos puso akong nagpapasalamat sa inyo lahat, sa inyong tangkilik sa akin sa loob ng 20 taon at ngayon ika-21 taon.
Sa Malacañang, nanumpa rin si Marcos sa harap ng kanyang mga loyalista. Pero huli na ang lahat. Sa ika-apat na araw ng People Power, nagkakandaratang tumakas sa Malacañang si Marcos, ang kanyang pamilya at ang kanilang malalapit na tauhan. Dinala sila sa Hawaii sakay ng mga helicopter at eroplano ng Estados Unidos. Namatay si Ferdinand Marcos sa Hawaii noong 1989. Pinayagang iuwi sa Pilipinas ang kanyang bangkay.